This is not how I planned to do our first camping trip in almost 2 years, but I ended up just letting my husband pack how he wanted to pack. He didn't want to do certain things that I was planning on doing, and he may be totally right about it. So where safety is concerned, he's better at it than me, so I let it be. But I'm actually taking Perilla camping. They're in a Brita pitcher, which I've got the inserts in that on the other side of the car, but that way it doesn't overflow. And they were getting droopy because they sucked the water out of a smaller container I had, so I'll probably check that soon and put some more water in before we go. Coffee, all the stuff for coffee, one container, easy access. Disposables, cups, bowls, forks, plates. Not coffee, beef jerkies. All sorts of different stuff that's going to end up in different areas, but the drawers will end up as nightstands. Food. This is okay. This is refrigerated stuff with a little bit of frozen things in there. That's all frozen stuff that's been double bagged. I'll show that later. More stuff. Our snacks. When we go camping, it's 2 meals. I don't do 3 meals. I don't do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We do a late, kind of a brunch. But lots of snacks and trying to take a lot of fresh things too. My kitchen, my other drawer set, which is more kitchen things and camping gear, and that's also going to be a nightstand once we're set up. I'll show you. I had installed eye bolts into the frame, but my husband wasn't too. I was planning on putting all this stuff on the sides, and he didn't like that idea at all. So he went ahead and did it this way, which is okay, fine. So these are all, we're not bringing it all back. We're 2 of the cots are gifts, 4 of the chairs still in the plastic are gifts. These 2 are ours. 2 of the cots are for our grandkids. I went ahead and took, which I hadn't even screwed in, and then the back door that I was going to lift, but I needed to do some more trim work on the top and make the roof fit and all sorts of stuff, and I thought, well, just for the sake of a little bit less weight and not having to mess with this any further, I removed them, and my husband is using, this is going to be my cot, one with the cushion, and we've got the tables and tents and everything in there. I wanted to pack everything to where the tents would be the first things unloaded, so that we could, start setting them up, and he had other ideas, and he decided to do it this way, and we're going to unload anyway. So eventually this is going to be a kitchen, but not this trip. My side, these are all snacks. Sage for burning in the fire. I'm going to try that. The blue bags and the pink bags are for our showers, boy, girl. And fishing gear, because we are going fishing this time. I'm so excited. Sauerkraut for hot dog night. The Brita inserts. Just more food, more stuff. Fun, fun, fun. I'm so excited. The picnic tables and benches are just not worth trying to clean. So I use the tablecloth clamps in the corners and use these, which you're supposed to use for your sheets, on the ends of the benches to keep them and keep the plastic there in place. And that's just another disposable tablecloth that I cut in half. Cooking dinner. Went from 2 to 5 that I'm feeding, maybe. So I added some more onions and mushrooms to the Korean barbecue. Rice is cooking, and we have more. But normally I have a sink set up, or washing station over here, but the mosquitoes are so bad and it's so hot. We normally don't come this time of year, but here's my ankles from yesterday. And earlier today. And we used Deep Woods Off. Oh, rice is done. But this stuff works great. Just picked it up, sprayed, not had one land on me where I've sprayed this. So I can recommend that. Using baking soda with a little bit of water as an anti-itch cream. I've looked at and priced all the pre-made kitchen, camp kitchen setups, and a lot of them that are light enough are kind of on the flimsy side, and the ones that are sturdy are too heavy on their own, and that's all they're used for is camping. I used 2 of these tables. They're $38, $39 something at Sam's Club, and I bought them at 2 different Sam's Club, one in Florida, one in South Carolina, and the one from South Carolina is this one, and it does not have a little center thing on the legs. The legs have the bar at the very bottom, and they go to 3 or 4 different heights, so like coffee table height, and counter height, which is what I've got them set for. So using 4 bungees and a shelf that was not quite 4 feet, because these are 4 feet long and 2 feet deep tables. Didn't buy that. That was something that we took out of one of the closets at our new place. So I did that, and then this one has the bar that's up higher, and I was able to bungee. This is actually 2 shelving, that's not one solid, but using the bungee cords I was able to make it into one, so it folds up into much smaller, and then using another 2 bungees I can make sure it holds up in the center. And it's nice to be able to put stuff from the counter that's not being used, so like when that 5th burner is not in use and the pan's washed, it will go down there on the shelf. So nothing food wise can stay out, so everything food wise has to go into a trunk. That's down there. It's gasketed, so odors don't come out, so just make sure nothing gets spilled on the outside of it. The toolbox is definitely not going to be used for camping after this trip. Lots of other issues, but it's heavy and it's not working as well as I thought it should. And what I want to convert to is these little plastic drawer units. Not for food storage, but for cookware, disposables, reusables, you know, drawer dedicated. Bottom one was laundry and dishwashing stuff. And they can't, if you try to, you know, pull them up by the top, they will fall apart. So I use these straps to hold them in place. And they're easy to lift with this way. Some have wheels. That's a plus, or sometimes a negative. And these also can double as nightstands if you empty them out, and you don't have to worry about other critters getting into your stuff. So there's nothing in these drawers that would entice a raccoon to investigate it. And there may be ways to put stuff in there that would deter them from wanting to investigate if there was something edible in there. But definitely going to do that. We've had back and forth about, do we upgrade to a nicer cooler. I like that these latch. They can be used as a dry box. This one cost me $40, brand new. Used it, it's been sitting outside, it's not been treated as well as it should have been, and it still works great. You need to restock it with ice. But when you look at the Yetis, and Yetis are great if you can afford it, or you got one as a gift, that's great, but they're heavy. And a lot of my gear is geared toward, you know, can I carry it? If I have to get someone else to carry it, it shouldn't be in my pack, my supplies. Same goes for large containers. This is a gasketed Plano foot locker, and it's latched on both sides, so you can open it from either side, or remove the whole lid entirely. And it got little tiny ants had found some way to get into there, and they're in there. But I like storing our sleeping bags and stuff when they're not in use. And I'm right now storing foods that don't have to be refrigerated. So that's working out for us. But otherwise, I wouldn't mind having another one, and would like to do this a little bit better, but this trip is, I'm changing things up, and that's what we're having to do when we leave. We put the stuff in there, and the raccoons definitely come every single time we're away from our camp. They've been watching, and they come out and see what have we dropped. This year we're doing dishes a little differently. Normally I have two dish pans, side by side on the table set at counter height, one of those 2x4 tables. I was so tired the other day, I just went ahead and set the one with the soapy water and sponge up here, washed, and it was clean earlier, and put the washed items into there. And when I had that full, I turned on, this is supposed to be the solar shower bag, and rinsed them off. So things below it got rinsed as well. And then using this towel, which in between, we had a visitor just a little while ago, left its little paw prints on the end of the towel, but this is all still clean because I had it closed up, and it walked on top here. And then I would just put it there until I could get a towel and dry them, or walk away and come back. But I like this setup. I'm sitting here. The shower bag doesn't really warm up, but it's not as cold, and I'm not having to run the hose into the screened room.